Things are really looking up and looking real good as far as the activities of the Mosque Cares and the progress that we've made. And I heard Imam Mohammed, Imam Rasul and Imam Anthony, you all were able to come up before the Imam Dawood, right, and mention the convention. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good news coming out of the convention planning committee. Oh yeah, I ate some soup. They had a lot of garlic in there, and somebody handed me a piece of gum, so I didn't refuse it. Let me take this gum out of my mouth. Thank you, sister. I usually don't chew gum, but I took that gum because I said I know what y'all smell, and I don't like that smell either. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. This ain't Ramadan. We ain't got to smell no bad breath. If my breath stink, let me know. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. But man, things are going so well, and I was reflecting on a story that I told I think it was the Mass Ignorant Convention. I think it was a year after, maybe 1 year or 2 years after my father passed. They were giving him an honor, like a lifetime achievement honor, and I was, selected to come up and accept it for him. So I said, wow, what can I talk about? It was really my first opportunity to speak outside of our community about the role as the Mosque Cares leader, as the president of the Mosque Cares. And so I thought about it this morning again. I revisited that when Imam Elam talked about how well and how we have fine-tuned with our new chair. Been doing an excellent job for 2 years now, right? Going on the second year, Anthony Weatherspoon. It's like riding a bike now. We don't have the stress, and we've gotten our groove, and where things seem to kind of add up and stack up the way they should. And we still need the support of the community, and we are constantly trying to increase the support of the community and the efforts, but we don't feel like we're behind getting things engaged and getting things started. We're off to a really good start. We have also the Ramadan session is being planned now. The meetings are started, right?
Yes, both of them started.
Yeah, both of the meetings. So we both have the committee meetings, and alhamdulillah that we were blessed to have the ability to organize and the structure that we inherited from being, part of the Nation of Islam, which was a government in itself, So we were able to step into those roles, 8 years, or however long it's been since the Imam Mohammed passed, about 8 years now, right?
Yes,
Yeah. And Allah has blessed us. We changing the history. How they say black folks don't know how to work together and do nothing together and make progress. I beg to differ with you. Our committee been doing it. We really doing it. We continue to do it, and I'm commending the brothers and imams and the sisters that's been in the background. We don't get to hear their names enough. Inshallah, we'll work on that, getting where we can maybe have little resumes or something where we can talk about the people that have been with us and honor them. Because 8 years, that's a long time of your life to give up for a cause, and a lot of us got way more than just 8 years. But we've been doing a tremendous job, and everything's well on the way, even the promotion, because I helped my wife fold a whole bunch of letters over the weekend that's going out with registration. So this is a smart thing. I used to think of because of the dates of the events, the convention following the Savior's Day, that to promote, but the committee said that we need to promote the convention as soon as possible, and so I commend them for doing that. So alhamdulillah. And anything, what do you all think we can do for our community, that the Mosque Cares could be better doing to serve the needs of our community, considering the climate that we have, to reach out. I think that if we had more activity from the young people, how do we engage the young adults more? That's one of my major issues, because they're very busy and very occupied, and there's a trend in our culture and in our society for young people to be more productive. And I'm remembering, I think about what I hear from all people. Imam Hathik too, last month, there was a concern he had on his mind, was the productivity of our youth, and how do we get our young people to be more involved and more productive. And I reflect being a part of some national organizations. Well, a couple of them. We have one that's like a world organization of the world's religions of peace, and also the Shura that I'm a part of, which is a national Shura, collectively the U.S. Council of Muslim Organizations. And I often see that they are able to engage their young people, but the thing is, we come from an African American background, and I bet this isn't just a challenge for us. I would believe that even the Christians and their communities, because of maybe the way our history has been, that way our grandparents raised us, that children. But I used to kind of think about it, that children, you can't trust them, especially young people, with too much freedom. You'd be embarrassed of what they might do, But African American people, as a people, we come from a history where we might want to, release give them a little more rope and release some of the restrictions that we have on them, and see what they can come up with. And this is what I've been doing. I'm not just thinking of this off the cuff. Whenever I see the youth, because somebody's keeping them out of our doors, they're keeping them from coming here. So I would talk to them every week. If somebody told me you had 20 youth here, I would be here. I'd just drop what I was doing and come to talk to them. But the thing is that we need to encourage them to take more responsibility for their collective efforts. And most African American people don't. When you tell them that, they don't know what the heck a collective effort is. What do you mean, a basketball game or something? That's the only thing we collect to do, is to maybe toss a ball or shoot some dice or something. I don't know what or talk about the last soap opera. I'm way behind the time. I don't know what the kids talk about. I have no idea, because they ain't here. So, but the young people shouldn't have to come together only when there's a protest or something to whine and cry about. The human being has dignity when they find themselves in positions of service. And not service, I don't mean just going to the old folks' home and feeding the elderly, babysitting and helping children. That you should accept a role in community development and leadership, and that type of role. And how do we even get the children as an audience to present them, the young men and women that maybe singles events. I wouldn't want to have a party in here. You'd have to clean that up real quick. It'd be almost impossible. But my father was successful. We lived maybe 3 miles from the masjid, Masjid Elijah Muhammad on Stony Island, and I remember walking with groups of maybe about 20 people. A lot of people carpooled. Maybe 20 or 40 people from my neighborhood. We would walk down to the masjid on Stony Island when we used to have those nights. Sister, you remember the nights we used to have where the young people would dance and have parties? Because I remember my father would talk about it the next week at Juma. And he let them know what all he heard was going on, and that it's going to have to stop. But ultimately, everything we do, the world is watching. And so we're a big commodity, So they watching and say, hey, we're gonna sell them something to cut that out. And I was telling the brothers in the back room that one of the biggest issues it seems we have trouble with is meeting together, because that's when you get the attention of law enforcement. They don't. As long as we can keep things, we didn't have a lot of trouble because we had the FOI and the brothers and the sisters, the MGT, very disciplined, high morals, high respect for community and family, and we didn't have problems like that. And I don't think we would have these problems now, unless we went to the gang meeting and invited the people in. Then you're gonna have a problem. But if we just invite young people in and find out what they want and what could they do collectively for their own future, you know. They have in college, they got everything sold up. So they got the sororities and the different clubs and different things and like that. But as far as our young people, getting them involved in community activities, because we're an aging community. We won't have a community if we don't do something to change the perception that our youth have of community. You know, it's not just Eid. I see some of them come out on Eid. So maybe we can make a strategic effort to start something during the Eid when we can get their attention, pass out, or pursue them. We have to go after them. Because that's what I have to do. My father used to be able to say where he was going and not going whenever he wanted to. You know, he didn't care who he was. Like, you know, I'm going to come there because, so I accept your invitation because I got to practically beg him to invite me somewhere, you know. They ain't going to invite me nowhere. But, you know, that's because of the circumstances we're in. Society does not encourage us to want more than what we're offered by popular culture and what we see on TV and media and what the Joneses got, you know, next door. But our future is going to depend on how we engage our youth for the betterment of the culture and the society. And I think this is a good time to be strategic. And I don't have time to be going. I know there's a whole lot of social activism and a whole lot of places where I can go and meet with 100 of young black teens arguing about serious issues. But I'm talking about our children. Where are our children? Do our children take a back seat?
Yes, sir.
You know, pretend like they ain't even Muslims when they're in the crowd and don't speak up on the issues. It's our job to train them, to teach them how to assert themselves and how to be comfortable in the position of moral leadership. Because you got it, but you've been hiding it. You know, you may have the moral answers, but you've been keeping it to yourself. And then they find 1 or 2 stars of ours, and we never see them again because they put them on the payroll. And that's our community going away. You know? That's our community leaving us. And not just me, I've had people from different faiths and different backgrounds voice this concern about us. Now, I don't know where they heard it, but I remember, I said, well, I remember things I used to hear when my father first passed and I first came into the Mosque Care's office. I remember things I used to hear people saying, and I could tell clearly the difference between the voice of the righteous and the devil. So I would listen to what the believer said and gave me hope, but I'd never forget what I hear the devil saying. I'd never forget because he's saying it for a reason. You know, he's trying to find out where our strengths and where our weaknesses are, and where our values are, and what we sleeping on. You know, so they wanted the young people. I remember it was a big issue. I'm like, youth. I'm like, I ain't think about no youth, you know. I'm like, the youth. I thought the youth came with the community. I had no idea that they was controlled or puppeteered by some wicked people. But I found out, and later I discovered that the youth are being managed the same way some of our leaders are being managed. My good buddy is here visiting. I ain't gonna put him out there like that because he ain't sitting out here. He should have been out here. He said that everywhere he looked, the African American men, the women are marrying outside of their race because the African American men, a lot of them is homosexuals. And people know this about Atlanta.
80%.
80%, my goodness.
African American men.
Wow. Wow.
80%.
Under the age.
And that blew me away. Just to know I had heard it, but he from here. He moved down there, so he know what's happening. And so that's the struggle that we dealing with, is that wherever you find a masculine African American man, you're gonna have a hard time protecting him from the forces of the society and the culture that we live in, because they look to defeat him because he ain't profitable. He can't make them too much money because he's trying to get his own, right? And they can't dominate him. So we'll look up and we'll have weak imams in our community that got somebody that's a little bit stronger, more masculine, more manly, telling him what to do. And he don't know it because that's his nature. His nature is to submit. So the man is punking him, basically. And our community, the real men is, you know, they being lost, murdered, locked up, and that's a big